Hello and welcome. This is my first video of true crime with Liam. I'm Liam. We are hoping, I am hoping to upload once a week. More than likely will be on a Friday or a Sunday, depending. And hopefully you will enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. I love true crime, always have, always wanted to do it, and I just thought, you know what, sod it, let's get it done. So, the case that we're doing today, our first case, is the murder of Brianna Ghey. A lot of you would have heard of this. It's been in the news. If you haven't, obviously, where you've been, or obviously if you're abroad, you're not from the UK, then you probably wouldn't have heard of it anyway. But yes, here we go. It's the case of Brianna Ghey. With me, Liam, on True Crime with Liam. Go. So, two teens, they were waiting for someone to get off the bus. It was a Saturday afternoon, I do believe it was. I think it was afternoon anyway. And then they go to the park and they killed that girl who was waiting to get off the bus. That girl's name was Brianna Ghey. The town of Birchwood, it lies in the northwest of England. It's a small place. It's very suburban, but it is described as it is it's a friendly place. There's quite a few parks around, and at the north end of the town is Linear Park. It's not like a normal park. So it's more. It's got loads of trails and like wooded areas and things like that. And on the 11th of February in 2023, there was a 999 call, and it was made by two people who was walking their dogs. Their names were Andrew and Catherine. Their husband and wife, like I say, they were walking the two dogs. They were going across through the trail, and they came across something at the side of the road. Side of the road. What am I talking about? Just off the trail in the woods. Side of the road. And they realised that it was someone lying down in the ground, on the ground, just off the trail, like we said. And they realised it was a girl. So obviously they rang 999. Actually, I think it was around between like 10 past, 3:15 in the afternoon. And they said in the 999 call that someone had been attacked, and they saw who they thought was the attackers running away, and they were wearing all black or dark clothing, really dark clothing, and they had the hoods up, and they thought it looked like a boy and a girl who was running away. They also said that the girl who's lying on the ground, that she does look extremely hurt. There's blood everywhere, on her legs, on her head, and emphasised again that she was very hurt. They obviously said we don't want to touch her, we don't want to, you know, do anything because you don't want to disturb it. They obviously said not sure if she is alive or not. So yeah, and it would soon be determined that the body is 16-year-old Brianna Ghey. And Brianna, she was born in November in 2006 to Esther and Peter. She attended Birchwood Community High School, and she was known to be a very kind person. And she had a few things that she liked doing, but the one thing that she loved was TikTok. And she had over 30,000 followers on there. She loved making all her little videos and, the little dance and things and what have you, and miming along to songs and that as they do on TikTok. Brianna, she was transgender, and she was, as you say, fearless in that, but not like fearless in, you know, like I'll do anything and all that lot. She's just more of like she was confident in who she was and who she wanted to be. She lived with her mum, Esther, and her older sister, Alicia, and her stepdad. Her parents, Esther and Peter, had separated while Brianna was growing up. She didn't have much contact with her dad in the early stages of the separation, but recently she had reconnected with him, and people have said Brianna was very funny, larger than life, but behind the scenes there was a side that she didn't show off to people or to on TikTok, on social media. She never really shown this side off. She did have some mental health issues. She'd self-harm, she had eating disorder and anxiety issues, which obviously, as you'd expect, the anxiety issues that would make it hard for her to leave the house a lot of the time. Apart from obviously going to school, she would go to school, and that it didn't stop her doing that. Her anxiety, it meant that she spent a lot of her time in a thing they call the inclusion unit, and the inclusion unit, that was for students who needed, a bit of extra help, bit of care, and things like that. And Brianna was there. All the other stuff like anxiety and that obviously gave her the opportunity to go to the inclusion unit. And Brianna was there, at the school, and then in November of 2022, a new girl joined the class, and that was 15-year-old Scarlett Jenkinson. She had previously gone to another school. It was like a town over from there, and she transferred to Birchwood. She'd actually been kicked out of her old school. She'd been kicked out of a few schools, to be honest with you. But most recent one was because she had brought in some weed gummies, the edibles as they're called. And the school was like, nah, we're not in that. See ya. We don't want you here. Like, you're not doing stuff like that. And obviously Birchwood, they did a background check, as they do. And she was described as quite an anxious girl. But actually, other than that, just normal, really. She had a tradesman father and a OMEC teacher mother. No real red flags or anything like that. You know, just your normal household, really. That's because the red flags that should really have been raised, that wasn't, that was being that at her old school with them gummies, she had actually spiked a 13-year-old girl with those weed gummies, those edibles. And the girl, she actually had to be, she had to go to hospital. She had to be hospitalised for that. But no charges was brought against Scarlett, and so Scarlett, she didn't really have many close friends. But she told other students that she was into Satanism, and she also believed that she was a witch. Allegedly, she had tried to get some of her students to do some blood rituals, although, like, said that obviously those students that she tried to get to do that obviously said, nah, fuck off. Don't talk wet. I'm not doing stuff like that. Over time, she actually did become friendly with Brianna, and they became friends. It seemed like it was a normal friendship. They'd hang out and things, but in December, end of December, beginning of January time, so end of 2022, beginning 2023, Scarlett became obsessed with Brianna. Not in like a lover sort of way, like she, loved her sort of thing, but more like she just can't stop thinking about her. But again, not in that way. Just like where you can't stop thinking about a person, what have you. And we see this through text messages that she would actually send to a friend of hers named Eddie Ratcliffe. She'd say obviously about how obsessed that she was with Brianna, and Eddie and Scarlett had actually been friends from her other school. Um, Eddie was said to be a bit of a loner, but very smart, and they'd been friends for around about four, 4 or 5 years. By this point, Scarlett did actually have a boyfriend, but things she would share and talk about with Eddie, she wouldn't talk about with a boyfriend. I'm talking like she was obsessed with serial killers and, blood, guts, torture, all that shit. Kind of like you'd say a true crime obsession, but this was the next level. This was an obsession with it. It's not in a healthy way. Um, and Scarlett liked Eddie because he liked this similar things to what she liked. She liked the same stuff, and like killing and all that crap. Eddie liked Scarlett because she could help him socially, and she could also introduce him to girls. Scarlett was mostly obsessed with the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. She also liked Jeffrey Dahmer and Dr. Death himself, Harold Shipman. It's said that she downloaded a Tor browser. If you don't know what a Tor browser is, it's a browser that you go on if you want to access the dark web. And she did that to access the dark web, and she downloaded and the Tor browser, and she'd look at videos of torture and murder, like what did you say, snuff films, really. Um, not really the sort of things that you're gonna find on Google. You know what I mean? You're not gonna find that kind of shit on Google. So she needed the Tor browser to do it, and she's also said that her favourite film is Sweeney Todd. The one with Johnny Depp and Ellen Bowen Carter. About as they say, the demon barber, where he'd kill them and drop them down, and they'd be cut up and made into meat pies and sold to the public, as you do. So on the 11th of February in 2023, Brianna was home alone. Her mum and her sister had gone out, and she texted her mum to say that she was going to go and get the bus and she was going to go and meet Scarlett. Our mum thought that it was a bit strange because Brianna would never get the bus, especially on her own. Um, Brianna's mum also obviously meeting Scarlett. Her mum didn't really know Scarlett. She'd heard obviously Brianna talking about her and things like that, obviously from school, but she'd never actually met her. Guessing obviously Scarlett had never been round their house or out like that. So, but yeah, but the journey on the bus, it took about 15-20 minutes, and there waiting at the bus stop for Brianna was Scarlett, but Scarlett wasn't alone. Eddie was there with her, waiting. Brianna didn't actually know Eddie, and then the three of them, they met her off the bus, and then the three of them walked to Linear Park, and people passing just obviously said that they just looked like, regular teens just walking towards the park, which there would have been, really. That's all you would see. You wouldn't think anything of it. You wouldn't be like, oh, look at them, what are they up to? They're just teens just walking along, chatting, all that. But yeah, so but when they got to Linear Park, and there was outside, it was a disused rail line. That's when they attacked Brianna. And less than an hour later, the couple walking their dog would come across Brianna's body and obviously make that 999 call. Brianna, she'd been stabbed 28 times in the head, the neck, back. Oh, you know what I mean? It's horrific. She said it's overkill. Obviously, you don't need to stab someone 28 times. That you don't. That's just overkill for that, in a sense, really. Um, the investigation, almost quickly, they swooped in on Scarlett and Eddie. As, if you remember, obviously Brianna had texted her mum to say that she was going to meet Scarlett. So they'd have got that text, and then they linked Scarlett to Eddie. And then the both of them was arrested at the same time simultaneously, the very next day. And while there was at the police station, the police was at their homes searching their homes. Eddie Ratcliffe, he lived at home with his parents and siblings. He was described, like I say, as a loner. He was diagnosed with autism, selective mutism, and a high level of social anxiety. He spoke when he was first arrested, but as it went on, he spoke less, and then he would only talk to and through his mum. His family was again like, normal. You know how they say it's like they say on Killers, it's like nature or nurture, nature versus the nurture. But these come from well-liked families, normal families who gave the kids everything, and I don't mean like necessarily spoilt them. I mean gave them everything. There was clothes, there was fed, there was watered. They had loving families. They didn't want for anything in that respect. I like you see sometimes where you get some murderers and things like that, where the childhood and that has been pretty bad, but these, no. So Eddie's dad, he was a fitness trainer, and his mum was an artist. Eddie, he was the middle of three children, a top student, never in trouble really. Family would go, like on boating on the lake, and he was actually planning to go to university and study microbiology. In his house, they actually found the hunting knife and bloody clothing, and CCTV actually showed Eddie leaving on a bus, wiping blood off his hands and off his clothing. After the murder, they both went home and just chilled out, like they had just been to the park for a wander around, and then went home, like nothing had ever happened really. It's weird, like how you can off like that, do that and then switch off. It just don't. Yeah. But yeah. Then they acted like completely shocked when it said that there'd been actually a murder at Linear Park. Later that evening, Scarlett, she actually wrote on her social media, Brianna was one of the best people I have ever met, and such an amazing friend. It's so fucking sickening what got done to her. And at the same time, whilst she was writing that post for social media, she was sending text messages to Eddie saying, are you worried that we might get caught? Obviously for what we've done. And Eddie would actually say, well, we probably are. They probably are gonna get us. But then Scarlett had said back, well, no, don't worry about it. The police round here are shit. The crap. They don't do nothing. Scarlett also in these messages said that she wanted to keep parts of Brianna's flesh as a token. I mean, that's just, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know that you say like killers do keep trophies and stuff, but why would you want to keep flesh? In a text she wrote to Eddie, she said, can I keep something? A couple of teeth or an eye? A couple of teeth or an eye? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? You know what I mean? What's seriously fucking wrong with him? Madheads. So, and she said that she was actually excited by what she'd done. It's just. But after putting that on social media as well, putting that on there, saying, how much of a wonderful person she was and how terrible it is what happened to her, and then doing that, oh God, it just don't add up, does it? But anyway, she also revealed, should I say, sorry, she had recently actually tried to poison Brianna before, obviously, all this, but obviously it didn't work. It just made her really ill. She actually tried to poison her with ibuprofen. Brianna's mum came in one day and heard Brianna being violently sick. Obviously in the bathroom. She actually thought that Brianna had done it to herself, took an overdose of ibuprofen. But, because obviously Brianna had self-harmed in the past. But if Brianna had have died as a result of that, her mum would have just thought that Brianna had done it to herself, and Scarlett probably would have got away with it. But yeah, Scarlett and Eddie had lured Brianna to the park that day, to try to get her to obviously come on, come on, come on, come on, let's go, come on. You need to get out. Scarlett actually stabbed Brianna first, then passed the knife to Eddie, and Eddie stabbed her 3 times, then passed the knife back to Scarlett, and then she did the majority of the damage to Brianna. The reason they killed Brianna is a few, really. One was because Brianna was transgender. The other was Scarlett just wanted to kill. She just wanted to kill someone. That's it, really. They actually had a kill list, a list of people that wanted to kill. I think it was more Scarlett's list, but obviously she got Eddie on board to do it. And it obviously that list contained obviously Brianna and 5 other boys. They were planning on making their way actually through the list, starting with Brianna, but obviously they got caught before they could actually go any further. People say that Scarlett really was the ringleader. Eddie was more of a follower, easily manipulated. She told people that she had the kill list, but no one really believed her. They just thought, like this crap we're saying that she's a witch and Satanist and all that. A lot of people just brushed it under the carpet, really, and didn't really think out of it. They decided on Brianna because they thought she would be the easiest. And Eddie, in a text to Scarlett, said he wanted to see if it will scream like a man or a girl. And Scarlett just wanted to kill anyone. She won't bother who it was on the list as long as she got to kill someone. Eddie, like I say, he was the one who wanted to kill her because she was transgender. When the police searched Scarlett's home, they found her diary, and in there was a plan on how they was going to kill Brianna. She'd literally wrote out a kill plan on how it was going to work. Yeah, the date and everything. It said Saturday, the 11th of February, 2023. Victim: Brianna Ghey. Plan: meet Eddie at Wooden Posts. Go down to Library bus stop. Wait for Brianna to get off the bus. Then the three of us walk to Linear Park. Go to the pipe tunnel area. I say the code word to Eddie. He stabs her in the back, and then I stab her in the front. Eddie drags her to the wooded area, etc. Both Eddie and Scarlett, they was charged with Brianna's murder. Eddie would say through his mum that he was like taking a pee or something, like not there in the woods, and then Scarlett killed her. Scarlett would say similar, like she wasn't there, and Eddie had killed her. So there was like passing blame on each other, really. One would blame the other, and so on. Scarlett actually did have a cover story already. She had messaged Brianna asking Brianna if she was okay. She told the police this anyway. She told them that she did meet Brianna that day. But Brianna had left Scarlett to go meet a man from Manchester. Okay. She even messaged Brianna saying, "Are you okay? Did you meet that man from Manchester? Because obviously I've heard that someone's been killed in Linear Park," and she obviously wanted to make sure she was okay. You know, it's just fucking stupid, isn't it? They had actually been planning to kill for months. Like I said, they had a kill list. Brianna, 5 other lads, 3 of the lads on the list had pissed off Scarlett's boyfriend or something, so she put them on there. Another was a boy who liked the same girl who Eddie liked, so obviously he's got to go because he's competition for Eddie to get the affections of the girl. And the last boy was basically just Scarlett just didn't like him. She just thought he was a prick, so he had to die, as you do. You know, I don't like you, so you've got to die. Pathetic. That it is, absolutely pathetic. They settled on Brianna, but they had actually tried before to lure Brianna, but the first time Brianna actually cancelled. Don't know why. Another time it was Eddie who said no, not doing it, because it was a school night. A school night. He's quite happy to kill, but not on a school night. I'll have to do it at weekend. Can't do that on a school night. I've got studying to do. You know what I mean? Talk about having you priorities in order, eh? Oh, and then obviously they did finally manage to lure her. While actually, Scarlett was in the detention centre or what it is, she actually made another kill list. A new kill list. She made a new kill list whilst in the detention centre, and this kill list was actually of staff who worked at this place. Staff like that she didn't like, or you know, whatever. But the staff there actually ended up finding the list that she'd done. But during the actual trial, Eddie, he was allowed to actually give evidence and speak and that when he was on the stand and stuff, by typing into a computer, and it would come up on the screen for the jury, and then it would also be read out to other, other people that was in the courtroom. He was also allowed to do Sudoku puzzles, and also have a fidget spinner, and uh, some people actually say that it was just an act to um, make him look more traumatized, like he was traumatized for the murder that he committed. Well, don't fucking do it then, pal. You know what I mean? If that is, but then other people just, obviously the way he was with his autism and that, obviously that's more probably why it is. Um, it does as well say that neither of them really showed any remorse at all, uh, with it at all. They didn't really show any. Um, at the end of the trial, there was both were found guilty, of Brianna's murder. Scarlett, she was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 22 years. So she's got to serve 22 years before she'll be eligible for parole. And Eddie, he was also sentenced to life, but his minimum term is 20 years. The judge said, you will do the minimum term and you will only be released if you are deemed not a threat to anybody else. The motive was, like I say, Scarlett just wanted to kill someone. That were it. Scarlett just wanted to murder. She wanted to kill. And to see what it was like to kill someone. And also, obviously, as I say, with Eddie, he wanted to kill Brianna because she was transgender. Really. I mean, Brianna had her problems, and that, with her anxiety and her other mental health conditions, but it doesn't mean that she wouldn't have grown up and obviously dealt with those things, and turned into a brilliant, funny woman. Now for me, I actually do think that, personally, I think, this is my opinion, obviously, I think that Scarlett, she would have killed eventually, with even if without Eddie, she'd never met Eddie and all stuff like that. I do think she would have killed. Probably not at 15 years old, but I do think that she would have killed. Now, Eddie, I'm not really sure. I think that if he hadn't have met Scarlett, I don't think that he would have. I think it was Scarlett who gave him that nudge in that direction. He had it in him, don't get me wrong, he definitely had it in him. Definitely had it in him. But he I don't think he would have killed if it hadn't been for Scarlett. Scarlett, definitely. Anyway, well, thank you very much for watching my first ever video on this channel. I appreciate it. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Leave any comments down below. I mean, do be nice. I am new to this. I am learning. You learn as you go along, don't you? Learning on the job, as they say. But yes, thank you very much, and we'll see you with the next video on True Crime with Liam. See you soon. Ta-ra.